Welcome back, my dear students. We were with the chapter heat, and in the last class we did lot of definitions. Relative humidity, okay, absolute humidity, dew point temperature. These were the main definitions. Today we will be discussing on units of heat. Now, units of heat is coming from the scientist called as James Prescott Joule. Okay. So in honor of Joule, we have named the unit of heat as Joule. So the System International, SI unit, System International means everywhere globally the unit of heat is considered as Joule. The CGS unit of heat, CGS stands for centimeter gram second. CGS unit of heat is considered as calorie. Okay. Now, what do you mean by 1 calorie? What do you mean by 1 kilocalorie? These all things let us discuss. Now, how is this 1 calorie defined? It is defined by considering a specific amount of water and at a specific temperature. So, you need to consider the mass of water as well as the temperature of water. Depending upon these two factors, we will be defining 1 calorie heat. Now, for liquids, we use volume, that is, we use ml. For liquids, we use milliliter or liter. But always you should remember that mass means something that has weight. So mass can be written in grams or kilograms. Okay, in this way you can write grams, etc. Now, when I am talking about water and if I use the term grams, don't be confused why she is using the word gram. Now, any object will have its mass. If the mass is measured in grams, then you will write it as grams. Now, the ml, the Pepsi bottles and all, where you see that the volume of the bottle is in ml. Okay, so you use 100 ml or 1 liter. That is regarding the volume of any object. Here I am considering mass. Every object will have some weight, no, some mass. So that mass we are considering here. So we will be using the term gram or kilogram. Don't be confused with that. Let us consider a test tube. In that I have taken water and the mass of the water is 1 gram. When I started heating, I started heating and I am recording the temperature from 14.5 to 15.5. Okay. From 14.5 degree to 15.5 degree, if I want to raise the temperature, obviously we have to heat it. Okay, so this is burner. After heating, how much heat energy is required or necessary to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius? 14.5 to 15.5 is 1 degree rise, 1 degree Celsius rise. So for 1 degree Celsius rise for 1 gram of water, how much heat energy is necessary? That much heat energy is defined as or called as 1 calorie heat. Okay. So the amount of heat energy or heat necessary to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. I want to raise the temperature by 1 degree Celsius from 14.5 to 15.5 degrees Celsius is called 1 calorie heat. Now, if you are considering any other temperature range, now some of you might think, why only this range we are talking about? If you are considering any other range, then the amount of heat required will be different. Okay, so if you are considering this range, then the amount of heat required is called as 1 calorie heat. Now, we all know the relation between kilogram. Same way, 1 kilocalorie is equal to 1000 calories. 1 kilocalorie is equal to 1000 calories. So, how will you define 1 kilocalorie heat? The amount of heat necessary to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of water by 1 degree Celsius from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius is called 1 kilocalorie heat. Okay, only the mass will change. Rest all will remain same. For 1 calorie, 1 gram of water you will write. For 1 kilocalorie, 1 kilogram of water you will mention. So I hope you have got both the definitions. So if you learn one, the other definition, you will be getting it easily. Okay. For solving numericals, you should know this relation. Write it in your book. 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joules. Calories relation with joule. 1 calories relation with joule. 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joules. This we need for maybe objective type question or for sums. Okay, so keep this in mind. 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joules. Calorie, according to alphabetical order, C comes first. So 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joule. Like that you remember. Keep in mind. Otherwise, there should be no confusion. 1 joule is 4.18 calorie. No, 1 calorie 4.18 joules. Remember this way. Now all these units of heat, as I discussed before, it was given by James Prescott Joule, and we define the unit of heat in his name. He was the person to introduce us to the term. Now in 12th standard you will be dealing this more, thermodynamics. Okay, the various mix of heat. Thermal means heat. So in that without knowing this, you can't enter the chapter. 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joule. In thermodynamics, again you will be discussing about the next main topic called as specific heat capacity. Now what is the specific heat capacity? Let us discuss. Now, specific heat capacity. To know specific heat capacity, we have an activity given in the textbook, and that activity is the best to understand specific heat capacity. Remember, every object, specific heat capacity of steam, specific heat capacity of copper, specific heat capacity of lead, specific heat capacity of iron, all this will be different. Okay, so what is this? Let us consider three metal spheres, one of copper, other of iron, and the last one of lead. Okay, other of lead. So these three spheres are of equal mass. The mass is same, equal mass, as well as they are dipped in, these three spheres are dipped in hot water, boiling hot water. All three have equal mass. They are dipped in hot boiling water, and for the same time it is dipped. Let us suppose that 100 degrees Celsius water, boiling water, in that we are immersing copper, iron and lead for about 30 minutes. Okay, for about 30 minutes. Same time is given. Now when you take these spheres out of the water, the temperature is measured. The temperature was found to be 100 degrees Celsius for all these three spheres. Temperature was same. Obviously, this water is of 100 degree and you are putting the metal spheres. So, the temperature that you will observe will be of 100 degree Celsius. So, temperature is just the measurement of hotness or coolness. No, we had discussed in the first part. So, temperature was 100 for all three. Now, these metal spheres were taken and they were, now those three spheres, metal spheres which were at 100 degrees Celsius, they were taken out and immediately they were allowed to pass through a thick slab of wax. So this full of wax, it was immersed in a thick slab of wax. So it was observed that the iron on immersing, the iron, because of the heat, now wax will melt because of the heat which is given out from the iron. So the heat melted the wax and iron could travel much deeper. So iron reached now here. The iron block was seen here, iron sphere. So iron traveled this much distance. So I for iron. Same way, copper was also immersed. The wax melted but the copper was seen to be traveling less distance compared to iron. Copper reached only till here. Iron could reach much deeper than copper. And the third sphere, which was lead, Pb, lead, it could travel very less distance compared to iron as well as copper. So the distance covered was very less. So it could reach only till this depth. Okay, who was able to cover more? Iron. And it could reach much deeper through the slab, whereas copper reached only halfway, and lead very less distance compared to copper as well as iron. Now here, what do you understand from this activity is that for every object, the property which determines amount of heat absorbed is different. For iron, the heat absorbed is different. For copper, the heat absorbed is different. For lead, the heat absorbed is different. Temperature of all three is same. Temperature was same, but the amount of heat absorbed was different for all three metals. Heat absorbed was different for all three metals. Iron absorbed more heat compared to copper, compared to lead. Okay, so we can say that the specific heat capacity of iron is more compared to copper and lead. Whose specific heat capacity is least? Of lead. Understood? So the heat absorbed determines the specific heat capacity. So what do you mean by specific heat capacity? It is some property, no? The amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of unit mass of an object by 1 degree Celsius. How much heat energy is required to raise the temperature of a unit mass? If something specific heat capacity is given, then you have to specify the terms. If specific heat capacity is given, then you have to specify the temperature or the mass. Okay, so here you have to specify of a unit mass of an object by 1 degree Celsius is called specific heat capacity of that object. Okay, learned it? Now the unit of specific heat capacity is given as joules. Okay, joules, amount of heat energy means joules. Heat is in SI system, it will be joules per kilogram. From where kilogram came? Of a unit mass of an object, no? So kilogram. And next is by 1 degree Celsius. So obviously what will come along with that? Degree Celsius. So how will you read? The SI unit of specific heat capacity is joules per kilogram degree Celsius. Joules per kilogram degree Celsius. How joules? The amount of heat energy. Heat energy, so joules. To raise the temperature of heat energy for 1 unit mass in kilogram by 1 degree Celsius. So degree Celsius. Similarly, the CGS unit of specific heat capacity will be erg, because we know, no? For energy, the unit is different. For heat, the unit is different. Here we are talking about heat energy. For energy, SI unit is joule and CGS unit is erg, 9th standard. Okay. Whereas if you are talking about heat, the unit of heat is joules and in CGS system it is calorie. Okay, I say once again, for energy, the unit is joules and erg. For heat, the unit is joules or calorie. So here we are talking about heat in the form of energy. Heat energy. So we will use the term erg. That is erg per gram degree Celsius. Okay. Similarly, you can also write it as calorie per gram degree Celsius, kilocalorie per kilogram degree Celsius. Okay, so if you see the term erg, don't be surprised. Okay, erg is also a unit of heat energy. Okay, so what all are the units? Joule, calorie, kilocalorie. as well as erg if you are considering the amount of heat energy. Okay, now let us talk about heat transfer. Okay, these all are the main topics that you should know about the chapter. Now this topic called as heat exchange is not a new thing for you. You have done this experiment, the calorimeter experiment. You have a calorimeter. What is a calorimeter? The calorimeter is a substance which doesn't allow the outside energy to get into it, or it will not allow the energy from the calorimeter to come outside. Okay, so there is no outflow of energy or inflow of energy. Energy, whatever you provide, will be within this box. Okay, so that will be the calorimeter. In this calorimeter, so let us keep it little dark. Okay, these are the walls of the calorimeter, the base of the calorimeter, and the next wall of the calorimeter. So this we have the calorimeter, and in this we fill water. Okay. Now, if you drop any object, hot object, any hot object, and we have here in this calorimeter we had water. Okay, now what will happen in this calorimeter? There will be heat exchange, right? Okay, what will happen? The energy, the heat energy will be given out by the hot object, and the water plus calorimeter will absorb that heat energy. So from the hot object, the energy heat will be lost. Heat loss from the hot object, the heat will be lost, heat loss, whereas the water and the calorimeter both is going to gain heat. There will be gain of heat. Okay, so whenever a hot object, if a hot object is immersed, then till when will the heat exchange take place? The change in temperature will continue till the temperature of both the objects attain the same value. That is, here we have three objects. That is the hot object, water, and the calorimeter. When all three temperature will be the same, that is, they will attain an equilibrium state. Then we call this as state of equilibrium, when all these three have the same temperature. Okay, so how will you write it in the form of energy lost or energy gained? You will write it this way. So whenever you dip a hot object into the water in the calorimeter, there will be heat transfer or heat exchange. Heat will be taken by the water as well as the calorimeter. So we can write it as heat lost by hot object is equal to heat gained by water plus heat gained by calorimeter. Okay, so they both will be gaining the heat and the hot object will lose the heat. The symbol for heat we will consider the alphabet Q as the symbol for heat. So Q is equal to Q1 plus Q2. Okay. The heat lost by the hot object is equal to heat gained by the calorimeter as well as heat gained by the water. Anyone you can give it as Q1 or Q2. Okay, so using this we can solve various problems that will be coming up soon. If you have only two objects, that is one hot object and the other a cold object. Obviously, heat will go from hot object to cold object. Okay, so there will be transfer of heat from hot object to cold object. This is, I hope you all know this before me saying this. So the heat lost by the hot object is equal to heat gained by the cold object. Now this is called as the principle of heat exchange. Principle of heat exchange. Okay, don't write the calorimeter equation for principle of heat exchange. Okay, in the board they may ask you this for 1 mark. So students may think that also such an easy thing, how can they ask? They will write the calorimeter, that is measurement of specific heat by mixing method. Okay, that is measurement of specific heat by mixing method. So for that is an equation. Here they are asking you the principle of heat exchange. What is the principle of heat exchange? That is, heat energy lost by hot object is equal to heat energy gained by the cold object. This is called principle of heat exchange. That's it. 1 mark in your pocket. Okay. So I hope today's part was very simple. You have to remember the specific heat capacity, definition of an object, and principle of heat exchange, and keep in mind the equation. Keep in mind the equation Q is equal to Q1 plus Q2. Okay. Now before winding up, we will discuss a small numerical. So let us solve a very easy numerical. The question is, how much heat energy is necessary to raise the temperature of 5 kilogram of water from 20 to 100? Okay, 5 kilogram of water. So let us write the given details. Mass of the water is 5 kg. The temperature, rise in temperature. You want it to rise from 20 to 100. So delta T is the change in temperature. What should be the change in temperature? From 20 to 100. Means if you are getting 5 marks in your unit test, and in your second unit test, because unit test and second unit test marks, out of marks are same, no? 5 marks for your first unit test. In your second unit test, you are able to score a 15. So how much change you brought into your marks? That is 15 minus 5, 10 marks change. 10 marks you have progressed. Okay. Same way, delta T means the change in temperature. So from 20 you want to be at 100. So how much change you require here is 100 minus 20, which is equal to 80 degree Celsius. Now here we are considering water. So you should know the specific heat capacity. The unit of specific heat capacity is C. You should know that specific heat capacity of water. What will be the specific heat capacity of water? It is given in a table in your textbook. For certain numericals, you have to remember the specific heat capacity of certain substances. For water, it is very easy to remember. Remember it as 1 calorie per gram degree Celsius. Specific heat capacity of water is 1 calorie per gram degree Celsius. Okay. So see, in this table it is given specific heat capacity of various substance. Okay, go through the table. Yeah, you might have noted the difference. No, here mass is given in kilogram, whereas I wrote specific heat capacity in calorie per gram degree Celsius. Don't worry, specific heat capacity of water at kilocalorie per kilogram degree Celsius is also 1. Okay, so here no problem. 1 kilocalorie per kilogram degree Celsius. Okay, heat energy you should give so that the temperature of water raises, so that the temperature of water increases. Okay, so the energy is equal to energy gained by water. Energy gained by water. Energy given to water is equal to energy gained by water. That means MC delta T. Okay, according to the formula, it will be MC delta T. Depends upon the mass, specific capacity, and the rise in temperature. Okay, so for energy, the formula is MC delta T, and we got the heat energy that should be supplied so that the temperature of the water is raised will be 400 kilocalorie. And remember, you should know the specific heat capacity of substances. Here for water it will be 1, for 1 kilocalorie also 1, for calorie also 1. Okay, so I hope this sum was very easy for you. Okay, so we will meet with the other numericals in the next class. Till then, learn specific heat capacity definition and solve this sum in your book. Take care. Bye.